Here I am at Seamen's Church Institute, and as you can see, it has a family maritime exhibit, cafe and lodging, historical chapel, and services for mariners. I think this will be a nice fit for our Galilee area to help the fishermen, the maritime industry. Wait a second.
I'm Ann Souder. I'm the Executive Director of the Seamen's Church Institute of Newport, Rhode Island. On our third floor, we have 10 guest rooms with 2 shared bathrooms, one of which is handicap accessible. We have an elevator to the third floor. Our guest rooms are open to the general public and can be booked on Airbnb or by calling the Institute directly. If you are a working mariner, and that can be on a yacht, on a big ship, fisherman, whatever, you can get a room here for $50 a night. We also have a program with the International Yacht Restoration School for their students to stay here while they're in school at ours for $400 a month. And we usually have anywhere from 2 to 5 students a semester living with us. And that's great income in the winter when the tourist business goes away. Right now in the summer, our rooms are pretty much booked all season long. We've doubled our revenue this year as opposed to last year, which just shows that tourism is back in full force. We also have a library and a lounge that we rent out for meetings, wedding receptions, bridal showers, industry get-togethers, whatever anybody needs it for, at a very reasonable rate. And because we're right here in downtown Newport, they're very attractive. The downside of that is that there's very limited parking down here during the summer months, so most of our events tend to take place in the shoulder seasons or in the winter. Fees for the guest rooms, depending on the time of year and on the room size, we go from singles to twins to fulls to queens, is around $150 to $160 a night, and it may go up a bit on a particularly busy weekend. So our building was built in 1930 by the daughters of Governor and Mrs. Wetmore. He was not only a governor of Rhode Island, but also a state senator, and they lived at Chateau-sur-Mer on Bellevue Avenue, which is now one of the Preservation Society's mansions. The daughters built Seamen's, purpose-built for Seamen's, as a memorial to their parents, and we are now in our 102nd year. Our funding comes mostly from private citizens. We get maybe $2,000 a year in state legislative grants, and that may come every other year. I also raise money from other grant-giving organizations and foundations, but most of the money is privately raised, and that's my main job, is to raise funds every single year. Yeah. We're a 501c3 corporation, so we do not pay any property tax. We do pay income on our profits from the guest rooms if we make over a certain amount every year. But if we're making money on them, we're happy to pay the tax because it means we're doing something right. So Seamen's Institute was founded in 1919 by 5 parishioners of Trinity Episcopal Church, which is just up the hill from us at Queen Anne Square. These gentlemen saw a need for fishermen who were living on their boats to have a place where they could get off the boats and come and have recreation and education and socialization. So originally our home was at the 3rd floor, the top of the old People's Credit Union building, which is over on Thames Street, just opposite from where we are now. And then the building was built in 1930, purpose-built for Seamen's Institute. So I'm not a social worker, neither is my colleague, so we don't house any mental health clinics here. We do have AA meetings twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening. And then on the weekends, there is a session on Saturday and a session on Sunday. But any mental health issues, we refer to Newport Mental Health Agency. So we have a consecrated chapel. We're an Episcopal church, but we're actually non-denominational. We're welcome any faith to come in and use our building. We do from time to time have small weddings because our chapel can hold maybe 15 people max. And we have a number of memorial services, particularly for fishermen or people who've been connected to the sea either through yachting or commercial purposes. In 2017, the board was trying to figure out how we could continue making Seamen's relevant, noting that particularly fishermen weren't our main source of care any longer. So we spent a year talking to various not-for-profits and schools in Newport County about where there were gaps in services that maybe we could fill in. And we came to the conclusion that 5th and 6th graders in the middle schools needed to be exposed to what our bay and our harbor was all about, and also to realize that there were job opportunities on the sea right here in their hometown. So we, in collaboration with Newport Collaborative Architects, designed and built the Discovery Deck, which is an interactive exhibition geared to middle schoolers to teach them about the environmental issues on the bay, the history of the bay, the importance of the bay in their lives, and also to expose them to different professions where they can eventually, after they go through school, get training and be able to work in the marine fields right here in their hometown. Part of the design of the original Seamen's was that there would be a counter where our guests could come and buy cigarettes and notions, and then eventually that morphed into a cafe, which we ran up until about 10 years ago. We were losing $70,000 a year on the cafe, and we decided we could no longer financially sustain that. So now we lease the cafe out to a restaurant, and they handle all the food and just pay us a rent for the space. So, this is our cafe. We have a small kitchen, and they serve breakfast and lunch Wednesday through Sunday. The food is excellent. It's very convenient, and there are a lot of young people who work in this part of Newport in the summer, and they come in and get their food, either breakfast or lunch for the day. We also do box lunches for regattas and some of the tour boats that leave from the marina just behind us. Tourists come in. It's very active on the days that we're open, and the food is excellent, so I encourage everybody to come and check out. It's the best BLT in town.
Wow, I'm going to check it out, definitely. The prices seem reasonable too.
Yeah. So this is obviously our entry hall, which is also incorporated as part of the cafe. But this is the memorial to Governor and Mrs. Wetmore by their daughters, Edith and Maud, in 1930. And the mural was painted by William Holland Drury, who was a very well-known Rhode Island painter, and it's wonderful. It has many whimsical elements in it, like the whale. There's a nod to the Navy. Obviously sailing is important, commercial fishing, and there are lovely things like the bunny rabbits right here and the deer. It's really a treasure. We had it restored about 15 years ago when we added an elevator shaft to make our building handicap accessible. patience is
I know.
So this is the Mariners Lounge. It's a multi-purpose room. We use it as part of the cafe during the mornings. We can rearrange the furniture for lectures, for parties, for whatever anybody needs. It's multifunctional, but it's a lovely room and works well on many different levels.
Yeah, if they have a wedding in the chapel, they can come down here and have the reception, possibly.
Or upstairs in the library, which
Oh, upstairs
I'll
in the
show you
library.
too.
Oh, great.
That's an even prettier room.
Oh, wow, okay. And is there a fee for people to rent this out? Or?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it depends on different fees for not-for-profits.
Excellent. Yeah, it's a beautiful room.
We're also in the hot weather. We're a cooling center. We're on the fire department's and police department's list as a cooling center. And in the winter, we become a warming center. Not overnight. We used to do overnights, but not any longer. So we're a warming center during the day in the winter months when it's really cold.
And if someone is homeless, will they have access to any of the facilities here?
We do not encourage, we don't have any rooms for homeless
Okay.
people, but everybody is welcome to come in during the day.
Thank you.
Our memorial garden,
Very nice.
and it's a lovely little respite in the middle of busy Newport. People can come out here, sit, read, have their lunch, breakfast.
Yeah, this is really, really beautiful. Very, very nice.
So once a month we provide now a takeaway community meal along with many other churches and organizations in Newport. There's a whole monthly calendar. So anybody who's hungry in this town can get breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day of the week. We also provide a big Thanksgiving dinner, turkey with all the trimmings. We used to do that as a seated dinner throughout the Institute, but with COVID, that became a takeaway meal. We will reevaluate that this year. And then we also, up until this year, did a Christmas brunch because we realized that the soup kitchens weren't providing anything on the week between Christmas and New Year. That was taken over by the Community Baptist Church this past year, and we'll see what happens in 2022.
And now heading to the Discovery Deck.
This is the entrance to the Discovery Deck. In this hallway, we've created, with our partners Clean Ocean Accents and Fab Newport and Bike Newport, a kind of introduction into what happens when bad things go into the water. So it's an area for children to become acclimated before they come into the Discovery Deck.
Ocean pollution. How long does it last?
So we have a lot of things going on in here. This exhibition, basically you pull on a line and it tells you how many pounds you're lifting.
Oh, simple machines, yeah.
Yeah.
Pulleys.
It also teaches about block and tackle. And that's a very useful tool to know. We have two videos that we commissioned. This one is about the Marine pilots and shows what happens when the pilots go out to bring in the big ships that go up Narragansett Bay. And this one talks about bulk shipping and on the bay, and then we also highlight the other shipping that happens. Just a bit on tugboats. So this panel talks about how there are over 2,000 marine-related businesses in Rhode Island and 6,000 marine-related jobs. So it exposes children to their jobs right here in your hometown that you can learn to do. Our Rogers High School has a trade course in marine trades. So you can learn, and then you can go further on to the yacht restoration school and learn about composites and welding and plumbing and all the rest of it. And then there are many companies that offer marine apprenticeships in Rhode Island. So we want to expose children to the opportunities that they have right here.
Very nice. Yep, they got an EB there, I see that, electric boat.
Yep.
Excellent.
These are cushions that can come down so children can sit on them and watch this area, which is a projector that projects down. We have a series from PBS Rhode Island about, it's I think 13 different installments on jobs and work on the bay. So that's a really good one too. Obviously work tables. This panel discusses climate change and what's happening in the waters of the bay. So you hit a number that shows up here. This was wastewater treatment, and then the panel tells you what that is all about.
Very nice.
Pretty cool.
Oh yeah, they got industrial contaminants as well.
Yeah. Obviously, Newport is considered we consider it the sailing capital of the world. I think pretty much the rest of the world thinks so too, because we have more regattas here than anything else. An interesting statistic is that yachting brings more money into the state than tourism does. So it was very important to us that we highlighted the sailing aspect of life here on our end of the bay. The Navy was crucial to life in Newport. It still is, with the Naval Underwater Center and the base and the Newport and the Naval War College. We have many off-sites from the War College here. Students come with their professors and rent one of our spaces for a morning session. It gets the students out of the War College itself and down into the city, and they get exposed to more different aspects of what life in Newport is all about. Obviously, the research, which we're in the research triangle for marine industry and fisheries between Woods Hole, URI, and NOAA. Rhode Island Sea Grant did a huge study down here and included Seamen's Institute, Newport Shipyard, and Sail Newport as part of its study, probably about 8 or 9 years ago. So we're really blessed in Newport particularly, but in Rhode Island as a whole, that we are the center of marine research. Probably internationally, I think we can now make that claim.
This is why something like this would be ideal in Galilee, because Galilee will be able to bring in the Graduate School of Oceanography from the University of Rhode Island, and it'll be able to bring in students at the university at the undergraduate level, and also K through 12. If we have a Maritime Museum Educational Research Center, it's something that might be able to be used year-round.
Yeah, I can tell you this exhibition costs $200,000, which we had to raise privately. We had no funding from any educational.
Well, the universities,
no.
Or we might be able to try to reach out to them, maybe. You never know. We'll put it on the, we'll see. Be creative.
And that was in 2018, so
wow.
The cost has probably doubled since then. Obviously, commercial fishing and aquaculture are crucial to life here. The state pier has, I don't know how many commercial fishing vessels, but commercial fishing in Rhode Island as a whole is as we all know, is one of our major industries. And then the last panel talks about the history of Newport's waterfront. These are the ferries that went between Jamestown and Newport. The ferry landing was just at the end of Market Square where we're located. So this area was really the gateway to the city of Newport, the police station was across the street. There were commercial fishing brokers right here in this area that was then demolished to build this building. The building was designed by Frederick Rhinelander King, who was a very well-known New York architect that the Wetmore sisters had known because he had also designed houses here in Newport. So they got the best of the best. And in 1983, I believe, we became listed on the National Register of Historic Landmarks.
Have they ever thought about inviting some of the commercial fishermen or people in the maritime trades to actually come here and give lectures?
We do that all the time. We have, until COVID hit, we had a yearly speaker series. And Perry Rath spoke one year at our annual meeting. So yes, we've incorporated the fishermen throughout the years into our education program.
Another educational poster, some statistics and numbers. Yeah, very nice.
When we opened the Discovery Deck in November of 2019, we hired an educator to run the programs, to reach out to the schools around the state, because we wanted to bring students in from all over the state. And we were very successful. The first year we had over 5,000 students come through. And then our educator decided to go elsewhere, and we started looking at the economics of running this program, and we realized we really couldn't afford it. The schools stopped paying for field trips. The biggest cost of getting students in here from anywhere was the busing. Renting the buses to get children here became prohibitive, and even though the schools had to pay for that themselves to bring the children here, they couldn't afford to do it. So since the first year, we've not had an educator here. We do reach out to other programs like Clean Ocean Access and FAB Newport. The Newport Community School has had summer camp here for the last couple of years. So they bring students in, and we found that that's the model to make it work, that having an educator on staff is a very expensive proposition, but if you can get other groups to come in and use the facility and pay you a rental fee, then that helps, but it certainly doesn't pay for it.
It would be nice if the Newport School Board, if they might consider allocating a certain amount of monies to this program, since it'll be benefiting their K through 12 programming.
Well, I met with the superintendent of schools. That's one of the reasons that we decided to go this way, because we had complete support from the middle school and also from the superintendent of schools. But they don't have money to give out for off-site programs.
Okay.
All the books in here are marine related. As you can see, it's a beautiful room. It's our board room. Many businesses, as I mentioned, the War College comes in here and uses this for off-site. We have receptions here. We have parties here. It's really one of the gems of Newport, this room. And when we have children in, they often will do their classwork here, and it's a wonderful exposure for them on what a really elegant room looks like and how it can be used in a lot of different ways.
Very, very nice.
So now we'll go through to the chapel.
Who is this gentleman?
This is Henry H. Anderson, and this is his bust here. Harry was a beloved yachtsman. He wrote the U.S. sailing rules of racing. He was instrumental in the yachting world in this country, and he was a wonderful benefactor of Seamen's. And while he was still alive, we had the happy occasion of dedicating the library to him.
Very nice.
We'll open this window too. Get some more light in here. So this is the Chapel of the Sea. It was painted by Durf Ridley, the same artist that painted the mural in our entry. It's all of a piece, the whole thing. He created, except for the needlepoint cushions, they were done by others. But all of the elements in here are referenced in the Bible. And it's just a gem of a chapel in a lovely place of prayer and solitude. One of my favorite depictions in here are the fish being blessed with the lobster and the crab holding their claws up.
That's beautiful.
Isn't this sweet?
Yeah.
So the chapel was built in memory of Marie Post, who also had about 10 names. And it was built in 1933, so 3 years after the Seamen's Institute opened.
Wow, very nice. And what was her position?
She had no position here. She was a socialite in Newport.
Oh, a socialite? Okay.
Yeah.
The family donated money to this institute?
Yes.
Okay.
For the chapel.
The chapel, okay. Very nice.
Usually the weddings that we have here are Coast Guard or Navy personnel who are getting ready to be deployed. And so on quick notice, they need to have a wedding.
Huh.
And we did memorial services too. Not many, fortunately, but they happen. We have a baptismal font, so we can even do baptisms.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Very nice. Beautiful. This is the room area, which is like dorm-like setting, and they have 10 rooms. Almost like a college dorm, so to speak. There's a picture of myself. Old-time selfie.
We have 2 shared bathrooms. This is the handicap accessible one.
Okay, very nice. It's got a shower too?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Very nice.
Just don't know.
There are 2 separate bathrooms here on this wing. As you can see, it's monitored as well for everyone's protection.
Room. It even has a sofa bed in it.
Wow, very, very nice.
But it gives you a feel for how the rooms look. We have twins, doubles, queens, and all of them have a dormer window
Oh, beautiful.
and air conditioning.
Yeah, well, it feels pretty cool in here. I don't even think that one's on. I don't know why. It's maybe it's the central AC unit that's piping the cool air in here, but very nice.
No, we don't have central AC.
Oh, okay. For a hot day like today, though, it feels nice in here, huh?
Yeah. They're calling us directly.
Okay, so Airbnb calling you directly would be the best way of reserving a room.
Correct.
Excellent.
The main entrance for our hotel guests.
Okay.
So they come in here, then take the elevator right up to the 3rd floor.
Okay, very nice.
I'm sorry, the coat rack is here.
That's okay.
This is our memorial wall. People who were affiliated, like Archie Burdick and Dwight Hamley, were both superintendents of Seamen's up until 1999. We had a live-in Episcopal priest who was the superintendent of Seamen's. He had an apartment up on the 3rd floor, which has now been converted to guest rooms. So he was here 24/7. And this was part of our fundraising, these bricks.
And this is in memory of some of the fishermen who might have passed at sea or
Fishermen
something?
and yachtsmen. This was a whole yacht that went down with these kids on board.
Oh, wow.
Skip Babcock was a single-handed sailor. He was lost at sea.
Oh, it's a beautiful memorial though, I love that.
Yeah.
That would be beautiful in Galilee, where they can always memorialize those men and women who died at sea.
Exactly. He was obviously a fisherman, Navy, Army. He was lost at sea. So it's a very poignant place, and families come here all the time to say hello.
Sure.
Then this was part of our fundraising for the library, for the handicap accessibility,
Wow,
the
very nice.
elevator.
Well, right now in Galilee, they're supposed to be having like $42 million of federal monies coming into that area. And they say they want to use it for the infrastructure. Well, it would be wonderful if they could use some of that $42 million to build something like this in Galilee.
Well, be careful what you ask for.
Yeah.
Because it takes, this building, our budget is $350,000 a year, and that's mostly salaries.
And you end up acquiring that monies from just fundraising?
I have to raise it every year. Yep.
So you must be quite, we'll have to hire you out to be a fundraiser for Galilee.
I'm pretty well known in Newport, but I don't think I'm so well known in Galilee.
That's okay.
You need the locals.
I need the locals, okay.
So I highly recommend you find a local.
Well, God bless you to be able to reach out to people and obtain those monies to keep this place alive.
Well, it's a wonderful, it's a calling.
It is
really.
a calling, it is a calling.
So let me take you downstairs and shop in the smoothie bar, and they rent storage space in our basement for refrigeration and to store their supplies. So we have those as tenants.
Very resourceful. You have to be to keep this place going, right?
I need the money. Okay.
Oh, okay. Do they have a washer and dryer here?
Yeah, I'll show you.
And how about for the people who are staying in the rooms? Do they have access to washer and dryers?
Yeah.
Restrooms and laundry right there.
So it was flooded, so it's all clean now. That's why the fans are on. And then we have these commercial washers and dryers. And because it keeps flooding, we've got to keep the rugs up.
Do they ever think about getting a sump pump down here?
We have pumps.
Well, because it's such a high water table?
Because we're below ground, and when we get, we're below sea level and below ground. So when we have like a spring tide, water just comes up. So we have huge pumps. We have men's and women's bathrooms. They each have 2 showers in them. Right now they're closed because our lovely guests keep abusing them.
Oh, wow.
So no restroom facilities for the general public here.
Okay.
But there are plenty around.
Sure.
And we can direct people to other places.
Very good.
So my recommendation would be that you very carefully survey your community to make sure you find out exactly what the needs are. Because if you make it on too narrow a path, you might lose out on something that's vitally important to the community and something that you all could fulfill for Galilee. So I would say take it slowly and very thoughtfully.
Otherwise we could be missing the boat, literally and figuratively.
You don't want to miss the boat.
Thank you so much for your expertise and the beautiful tour you gave us.
Well, very happy to have you here, and look forward to if anybody else wants to come and have a tour, talk to me. I'm always available, and I would look forward to that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And Souder, I would like to thank you so much for your time and your expertise, for everything that you shared with me today. Forever grateful. I'm sure the information you shared with us will help a beautiful gem of a village of Galilee, Rhode Island. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Here we are at the Newport Sailing Museum, in Newport, Rhode Island. How are you? How are you?
Hi, good.
At the Newport Sailing Museum. It'd be nice if we can have a museum for the fishermen of Galilee in Galilee, Rhode Island, where we'll honor our traditions. They'll have videos, interactions between their lives at sea, their trials, their tribulations. This here will be a beautiful type museum. It will be also educational for so many. As you can see, this museum is a tribute for everyone who's sailed the seas in Newport.